I think we're going here. In my whole life, I've never been so honored to be anywhere. Truly, truly. This is super cool. Welcome to the Attractions Group podcast. Today, we have a really, really exciting interview with Mr. Djuan Rivers, Mr. David Detling, perhaps most importantly.
I flew in just for this.
And as well, our camera frame's not quite big enough, but America's theme park technologist, Matt Miller.
Hello, I'm just here for support today.
Welcome, everybody. Welcome to the show. How are you guys?
I'm doing great. Thank you.
Great. Matt?
Great, man. Yeah.
Great.
And Matt, when we talk, it's going to be like there's a microphone here. We're going to lean into the.
Okay. All right.
Sort of voices on the 2 stars here, I guess. So.
Absolutely not. And here we go. It's a podcast, so I don't know. Are people watching? Let us know down below. Are you watching or are you just listening?
What color are our shirts?
Yes. Yeah, exactly.
What do we wear?
So I was saying a moment ago before we started rolling, I think this is the first time ever on the Attractions Group podcast we've had on a guest with a Wikipedia page.
Hey.
That's pretty interesting. And then
Whole new level, right?
Former Animal Kingdom Vice President Djuan Rivers let us know that he thinks he's the first Animal Kingdom Vice President to not only ride Everest, but also climb Everest. That is pretty
Yes,
amazing.
indeed.
Wow.
So literally, we have a guest on is actually his own reality show. It's no. As
Follow my Instagram. It might appear to be a bit of a reality show because I got a lot of time. Yeah.
Retired at what age?
55.
55. Okay.
That's amazing.
And you thought that'd be a good time in your life to go ride a biplane. Not literally ride on a biplane.
Yeah. For those who do not know, it's called wing walking. So
not skiing, as I eloquently called it.
You jump in a plane with a pilot, and it takes you up to about 10,000 feet. It's the old biplanes, and you crawl out of the plane onto the top of the plane. You strap yourself in, and then it does these crazy aerobatic moves and spins and turns and curves, and then you get back into the plane, and then you walk out on the wing of the plane. And when you're on the wing of the plane, you don't tie yourself down. Like on top, you strap yourself into a locking mechanism. On the wing, you just hang on for dear life. And I was like, is this right? So no, it was.
You're wearing
epic.
a parachute though, like
No, because the parachute, if it deploys unexpectedly, could bring the whole plane down. So no, you're on your own, but you are. There's a small wire that you're tethered to, which
okay.
I'm not sure how effective it is. I don't know whether prevent you from falling into the ocean below, or so they retrieve your body, I guess.
What does this button do?
Yeah, exactly. But it was I did have a little video. It's like 53 seconds, but the actual flight was like 40 minutes. So you give up the whole screaming thing. Like you are technically trying to secure yourself in, and you're worried about, because when they teach you how to walk on the wing, they tell you, don't step here, don't step here, don't step here, or you'll go through the wing. You can only step here. You're so focused on the technical part, you kind of, until you're locked in, and you start having fun.
So, I'm sorry, did you lose a bet? I mean, how do you, or just on your bucket list?
Well, here's what's the reality of it is. 4 months ago, the FAA shut it down and said it was too dangerous. So no one else can do it.
I was getting excited over here.
But even a better story, though.
Yeah. Now who else can do it? I mean, you got a limited number of people who've done it. So.
Now all of a sudden it's going to be not only did he skywalk or whatever plane walk on the one plane, but now the story is going to expand since you can't do it anymore. No one can prove it wrong. So there's a plane going beside us. I walk from one to the next. And
well, the sport actually started post World War II when you had all these pilots with nothing to do and you had all these planes. So they wanted to make money. So they came up with these. If you Google it, you'll see people playing tennis. You'll see people being transferred from one plane to the next. But I should say, let it be known, if you've seen the new Mission Impossible movie with Tom Cruise, I did it before Tom Cruise.
For what it's worth, and it means nothing. I watched that movie. That was my in-flight entertainment today.
Did you really?
Final Reckoning.
Yeah, Final Reckoning. Okay. So I have actually spliced together my video with Tom Cruise.
Okay, that's cool. That's pretty cool. That's pretty cool. Okay, so tell us a little bit about the beginnings of your time in the attractions industry. How you got started, what made you want to get your foot in the door into the theme park world?
Well, I've spent a total of 33 years with Disney. But the first 2/3 of that was in resorts,
Yeah.
and a variety of other operating activities, whether it's Disney Reservation Center, Downtown Disney, that was called
Right,
at the
yes.
time. I did some strategy work. I work internationally in places like Australia, which doesn't exist, but I did some work down there. And then obviously Paris, and I worked on the cruise ship for a while. But literally from, I don't know, maybe like day 2 of being a hotel GM, I was like, I would love to be a park VP.
Yeah.
Like, I would love to get into the parks. And Phil, I think, was a director at the time, a general manager, Phil Holmes. And I reached out to him. And over my career, I've kind of reached out to Phil and go, hey, let me just walk around with you. And then when I was in Paris, I had a 3-year assignment. And near the end of your assignment, they always ask, what would you like to do? And I always tell people, I don't want to give you a specific job.
Yeah.
I want to tell you how I want to feel. So it's like, these are the criteria I want to experience in the next third of my career. And if you were to dissect those, it was kind of like me saying I want to be in a theme park.
Yeah.
So, and sometimes I'm pretty explicit, which is one of the things I will tell people. But I said I want to work in a theme park, and then that was it. And then unexpectedly, the name Josh tomorrow got moved, and some work happened, and I got called to go take over Animal Kingdom from Josh, and it was like a dream come true. So it was a pretty, and not only do you get to run a theme park, you get to run a theme park that has an animal component and a conservation component. So you get to learn the theme park business, but you get to learn all these other components, and many of them sort of gyrate with my core personality. So it was great. And I got there during the largest expansion of Disney's Animal Kingdom. So I had a chance to see all the new stuff that made it a sort of full park experience.
That's awesome.
It was great.
Is this a bad time to ask or make sure that we're getting the audio?
Check it.
Yeah.
I mean, my phone's recording too as a backup.
Okay.
So
So
we should be fine.
we're all talking loud enough to. Yeah. Okay. I wouldn't want to. Oh, we didn't get any of that. Can we do it with the same enthusiasm? And we're making sure we're cutting this part out. Yeah. Okay. Go ahead. Sorry.
So you walk in. You're the vice president of Disney Animal Kingdom.
Right.
Day 1. What's it like? Like, what does that even?
Well,
what even happened?
Where did you come from before? What was your previous assignment before that?
Disneyland Paris.
Okay. But what was your role there?
I was head of resorts. Hotels.
Okay. So you're head of resorts, international, coming back, and now you're pick up first day.
This is other than my very first job at Disney, which was Main Street merchandise.
Okay.
This was my first real foray into the theme park business.
Yeah.
Well, the first, if you want to know something like a funny story, I got there and I'm sitting in my chair, and the director of operations, Chris Lutz, I think it was Chris Lutz, and I said, do I get to ride Everest anytime I want? Is that what it means? He's like, yeah, anytime. I was like, all right, I'm good, man. This is like going to be the coolest job ever. Growing up, I was a theme park aficionado. I love roller coasters. So I'd always wanted to do like around the world and just hit them one by one. The top roller coasters over a period of time. All right. My kindred spirit here. So for me, that was great. And then unexpectedly was the animal component that turned out to be just amazing.
Yeah.
I mean, you can't, where else do you get to see a tooth being extracted from an elephant, and, person's waist is up there, and I don't know if it was like a gift or not, but one of the last things I had a chance to do with the animal programs team was they called me up and said, we're going to castrate a giraffe. Would you like to participate in that surgery?
Oh.
Yeah, why not? I mean, who's going to have that check? That's one of those,
be on the plane, the black plane,
three truths and a lie.
Exactly.
No one's going to believe I was a surgeon and I removed the testicles off of a giraffe. But it was amazing. I mean, you have to realize it was also during COVID. So not only is the operation complex to to anesthetize a giraffe as a head that's swinging and weighs, you know, a ton. And but the team was that group is phenomenal.
Yeah.
And you know, you have rotating people with different colors, so you couldn't cross path each other in case we had a COVID case that popped up, and you don't want to have to put everyone in quarantine. So it was magically orchestrated. And then yeah, I thought I was going to be holding instruments. They're like, no, man, go for it. So you know, everything from that to, you know, looking at a tooth removal from a lion to removing the hind leg of amputating a alligator. I mean, it's like crazy stuff.
Yeah.
I mean, like, and you know, these guys are biggest experts. And then on top of that, the conservation component. And I had a chance to really get into that and represent Disney as well as the state of Florida on the Nature Conservancy. And then I got to do the international ambassador for the state, and had a chance to go down to Chile. It was just, you know, one thing after another. That job allows you to get your feet wet. So it was fantastic.
That's so cool. That's so cool. I think it's still like there are not a lot of places like that in the world where you get to do that many different things.
Yeah.
Wide of a variety of operations. That's pretty cool.
And most jobs, like any, the more you put into it, the more curiosity you have, the
Mhm.
more you ask questions. People will love to tell you what they do. And if you want to participate in it, then why not? You know, and I'm a kid in a cookie jar. I was like, really?
I get to ride
I'll
off.
do it. You know, so yeah.
The animals that are at the park, are a fair number of them rescues, or are they how they clean up the?
No, the vast majority of them were born in captivity, or with the AZA, there's a relationship between zoos around the world, so you can exchange.
Okay.
You know, just to make sure that the breeding process is appropriate. There are some rescues, but you know, not many.
Mhm.
And believe it or not, you get more, you know, person down the street coming in going, I got this. And you have to give them the appropriate places. But yeah.
So you mentioned growing up as like a theme park enthusiast, theme park aficionado. Was there an experience, a moment you can point to that love came from, that love was born, or was it just innate? It was always there?
Maybe innate. I don't know.
Yeah.
You know, my father worked at Disney, so
Okay.
my first experience with Disney was 4 years old or 5 years old. You know, as my dad was getting off work and they're still building the Polynesian Hotel. And, you know, a few times we had a chance to go to Disney as kids, and it's just mind blowing.
Yeah.
Like, can't even take it all in. So I think that was it. And then, I started doing the whole roller coaster thing. And it was probably Space Mountain.
Yeah. I feel like I have to ask. This is a perfect parlay. Like, what's your favorite roller coaster?
Favorite roller coaster at Disney,
Or just total in the world?
You know, I kind of put myself into different positions when I think about my favorite experience.
Sure.
So you grow and develop, and you have a higher propensity for greater experiences the more you experience it. But I think the first time I rode Space Mountain as a kid has exceeded every roller coaster experience. I mean, of course, I've done faster, bigger, but that experience as a kid, being in that environment was just unexplainable.
Yeah.
You can't articulate how this, I don't know how it was, maybe 7 or 6 or whatever it was, but and I think that had to be it. But I loved Everest, obviously.
Of course.
Spin. I've done, I love the type of roller coasters that accelerate you from the start.
Yeah.
Those are always amazing. And these theme parks are just being so innovative these days. So it's taking my hat off to the engineers and the creative teams that are doing that.
Yeah, for sure. Super cool.
Well, for launched roller coasters, what's your favorite launch roller coaster?
I think the one I remember the most, I loved riding the Hulk roller coaster, and I love riding, what's the one at Hollywood Studios with Aerosmith?
Yeah, of course.
So I love the music. I love the Christmas was probably that one was probably the first sort of launch roller coaster that I was like, what is going on?
Yeah.
Like it catches you off guard, and yeah.
I remember first time riding the Hulk is back in probably 2000. I don't know when they put it in, but we
99.
okay,
Yeah.
2000. I remember going in line for it. I don't remember how long we waited in line for it, but you're inside the line queue, so you don't really see what's going on outside. I only know when we're going up the hill. We're going up the hill really slow, and about halfway up, I'm thinking, "Wait a minute! I thought this thing shut." And
Yeah.
as soon as I had that thought, there we went.
I mean, it's Disney does it right with all the theming, and there are other companies that they do it right with just the craziness of it. Yeah, it's just people drawn to it for some reason. I don't know. As I get older, I don't know. The back down.
That's interesting, coming from someone who walked on the wing of an airplane.
Yeah, it's true.
Don't need to
I don't know if I buy that.
No.
Yeah, I love having control. So it's like, do I have control over this thing?
So you also served as the vice president of Downtown Disney,
Yes.
now Disney Springs. What was that like compared to being in the park at Animal Kingdom? What are the differences that come with being at like a shopping dining center?
Yeah. Well,
What years were you there?
2004 through 2007.
So just before the remake or the redesign.
Yeah. So under my tenure, I think we closed Wild Horse Saloon. We closed one other thing. Kevin Lansbury had I think he had the privilege of closing like mannequins and one other thing, and people like got his home address. I wasn't like it for me. I didn't do that, but as in our theme parks, even the retail dining entertainment district, guests are passionate about things.
Yeah.
I mean, like the comedy club, and what was the other one? The one with all the characters.
Oh, Adventures.
Adventures.
Okay,
Adventure Club.
yeah.
Man, I mean, you can't even imagine people talking about closing the Adventures Club. It was but now look at it. It's phenomenal. Back then we had it was a very porous type of environment. We had 17 different entrances. In a theme park, you got one, so you can control what's going on.
Yeah.
So logistically, it's easier to control in and out of a theme park than it is retail dining than like Downtown Disney or Disney Springs. Well, now, as you know, there's a bit of a lot more control because you do actually enter and exit the same way.
Yeah.
Probably one of the biggest differences. Another big difference is you have so many unbelievable partners there. And so whether it's Cirque du Soleil or Wolfgang Puck or even some of the really outstanding retail places, these guys are all top of their game in their industry, right?
Mm-hmm.
Top of their game. So you get to deal with really great outside people who have a lot of unique ideas on what it means to deliver service. So trying to keep everybody on the same page.
Yeah.
Is important because the way they deliver service or Cirque du Soleil can be a little edgy, a lot more edgy than what we are. So, making sure they understand, okay, this is the base. We gotta all deliver this, and you can be unique about what you can do. And it's great for everyone. I mean, you have families who don't want to pay a ticket, but they still want sort of a Disney experience. And when I worked on a project with Bob Weiss, which didn't come to fruition, we were actually looking at building an RD&E, a retail dining entertainment district somewhere. And he said, it's easy for us at Disney because we have the berms, we have theme parks all around us. It's a very enclosed environment. But if we're going to build one away from Disney, then people need to be able to walk into that place and go, wow, only Disney could do this.
Mm-hmm.
And you get that because of the way you feel, what you hear, the incredible guest service that goes to the forefront of all interactions and all training. And so our goal is to, let's design a place that it doesn't matter where you are, but you can feel it. A Lonnie, a hotel that's away from everywhere. When you walk in there, you can go any other hotel. You can do a hotel tour around Hawaii. You walk in there, you're like, just to get this right. So I think that's probably one of the big differences.
In everything Disney does, there's a reason behind why they do what they do. We went to the what's the Vero Beach, the Vero Beach Resort, and the little whatever impressions on the floor.
Right.
Yeah, the turtles, and it's the different markings that they make when they're climbing across the sand. Now, were you part of the redesign of Disney Springs, or did that come after you?
That came after me.
The planning, or were you around for the planning?
I wasn't around for the planning.
Okay.
Well, truth be told, if you go all the way back to when Carl Holtz and George Calabrese was there, we all knew that we had to do something.
Yeah.
And that wasn't the issue. So there were a lot of VPs along the way who we were all a part of we got to get this done. We all were, doing proposals, getting rejected because the right thing just never materialized. And we got it done.
A lot of people know that Disney Springs has a backstory.
Yeah.
That a lot of I didn't know that. I had met a couple people in their offices on the second floor, and I just asked the question because of the raised train platforms.
Oh, yeah.
I've been going there for years when it was Pleasure Island, Disney's Village, whatever it was. And I remember asking, but I don't remember there being a train go through here. Was that part of it? Whatever we didn't see. And one guy's like, I knew it. People come here a lot don't know we have the story. And so they got the lowdown on the story. I don't know if I can regurgitate it now because it's been a number of years. But everything in the level of design and attention, not only are there raised platforms there, but they have where they have intentionally placed pylons there that they've sawed off at the ground level to make it look like there were more there. And there's never a platform there, but you'd think that there would have been.
Yeah. I think the Imagineers will tell you that, every location, everything we do has a story to it. And you, as a guest, you can explore that story to any level you want. You can just go in there and blow out and have a good time and have drinks and, but maybe your 50th visit, you start noticing something and you start asking questions. And the deeper you sort of delve into it, the more your questions are answered and the more questions you have.
Yeah.
Until you finally walk away going, now this whole story makes sense.
Yeah.
Once you know it and you're like, wow, who would have thought of that?
Yeah.
But it's not a detractor. It's a part of it.
Yeah. And I think too, there's a big difference between like having a story and telling the story.
Yeah.
Because sometimes it's in your face. If you ride Rise of the Resistance, you're not going to not know the story of that. But there, of course, are other places where there is this whole story going on around you, but it's like more information lean, and you have to have maybe it's interactions with, the team to figure that story out, which can be a great way to, create moments of service, which is super cool as well.
I want to ask some career questions, if I may.
Woo! Yeah.
So we have a lot of folks here that love theme parks, and some even on this podcast, obviously, are in the industry, and they have great aspirations. Some questions for you is, somebody watching this, they say, you know what, Djuan's killing. Vice president, ran apart, Disneyland Paris. I'm just a college kid. I'm a middle manager. There's 12 promotions between me and like where the end of his story was. Just wondering if you could talk a little bit about that, just kind of, early on in your career, if there were pivotal moments and, maybe some advice you might have to somebody that says, you know what, I want that one day, but I feel like it's so far out of reach.
Yeah. So if I did it, I think anyone can do it. So out of college or in college, my goal was to become a physician. So I have a degree in chemistry and economics, and literally from the age of 4, I used to walk around with a stethoscope and I was going to be a doctor. So that was that was my goal. My junior year in college, I worked at the Grady Memorial Hospital in downtown Atlanta in the surgical trauma unit. And I saw some crazy stuff. You can't even imagine.
Yeah.
People getting run over by trains, gunshot victims, stab victims, cancer, burn units. And I was like, I'm a nice guy. I like to smile. I'm like, this is not a smiling job.
Yeah.
So literally, I walked out one day and decided not to pursue that. But in walking out, I never had a B plan because that was the A plan. And so after graduating, these stories have a whole new podcast story associated with it, but because there were some very interesting experiences I went through. But I got a night job while I was pursuing some other careers, but I got a night job at the Marriott Marquis, and I had a chance to check in people, and I checked in a Disney recruiter who was in Atlanta for the college program.
Yeah.
And I was like, hey, I used to work on Main Street in high school.
Yeah.
And then he's like, well, we're about to start adding hotels. You should really consider working for Disney. I was like, I got a degree from memory, and I have my degree in economics. And I mean, and I was one of the things I was pursuing was an experience with an investment firm. So I was applying for a job in an investment firm. And then I was like, nah. And then so fast forward, another executive walked through for business, and I talked to him. He's like, you should really consider. So like the second person's telling me I should consider it. And soon after that, I went home for Christmas, and my stepmom worked in the same building as the vice president of resorts. And I said, do you know his secretary? Give him my resume. I want to talk to this guy when I'm home for Christmas. So she did. His name was Bob Small. I went and talked with him, and my freshman year, summer after my freshman year, I went to Hawaii, and I worked in a jewelry store, but we sold pearls, and we were called pearl divers. And when he was reading my resume, he was like, oh my God, you dove for pearls? I just kind of sat quiet. He kept telling the story, and I was like, yeah. So I ended up getting the job because he thought I was like this super cool guy, I guess. I don't know. But he said, we need innovative people like that. You got a great academic background. So I started Bell Services at the Grand Floridian.
Yeah.
And when I started Bell Services, I think the biggest thing was a lot of people around me had either been working for a while or been to hospitality schools.
Yeah.
And even though I had a great degree, I didn't have that. And I was like, I knew that I had to work like 3 times as hard as everyone else. So I literally volunteered to do everything. I volunteered to do everything. I mean, I worked later. I came in earlier. I asked a ton of questions because I felt like I had to catch up. And for the first 4 years, like nothing happened. I was getting frustrated. I'm like, I know I can do this. And then during that time period, somehow I impressed enough people to become an expert in Bell Services and was sent to Disneyland Paris on the opening team in '92. And so then I was like, I have a skill, And I think the biggest thing I would tell people is you got to tell people what you want. Like it's a fine line between being obnoxious and being informative. And so for me, I made it clear everybody knew what I wanted to do. And I didn't say, a lot of people will accuse the millennial generation of wanting to become vice president day 2 in the office. But, we all did that. I mean, like, it's not just this generation. I mean, so I never even thought about being a general manager. I mean, a vice president. I was just thinking, I kind of like what I'm doing. I think I could be that guy, the guy who runs this hotel.
Yeah.
And I just, whenever I sat down, I wanted to know, what more do I need to know? And they're like, well, you should learn all the parts of the hotel. I said, well, when there's a position open, send me there. And then, so that was my sort of modus operandi throughout my career. I mean, and I think getting yourself involved in difficult situations, most people are like adverse to confrontation.
Yeah.
So for me, I was like, oh, there's an angry guest on the guest. I got this. You got no, because no one went up. No one wanted to talk to the guest. And every time I had a chance to go talk to an angry guest, did it. Every time I had a chance to deal with some crazy situations, like a pipe blew up and they needed someone to go, I was there. Whenever, it was like, okay, we got to go home. I'm like, no, you need some help. So I was determined. I was really, really focused on that. And in the process, I told people I was pretty clear about what I want to do. And I just, kept plowing at it. And eventually the opportunities came and I took advantage of it, and it kind of worked out.
Cool.
I like it because you think most people are running away from a fire. The fireman runs through the fire.
Yeah.
And that's as simple as that sounds. That struck me that you're saying that no one wants to work with an angry guest. I'll do it.
Yeah.
You can't really see I have my hand up, but no. But what is one of the exchanges you remember that and how did it turn out?
Let's see. Let's see. At the Grand Floridian, which was and still is the Marquis Hotel, and that was when we built that. That was really the start of all these other hotels.
Yeah.
So some of the challenging situations there. I mean, one in particular was we had these safes in the guest room. They're called L safes. We have them up. They're like these big box things, and you touching your 4-digit code, you close it, it locks. We used to have challenges with those because they would not work all the time. So we had this little box that we would go out there and stick it in there and open the safe for the guests. I remember vividly once a guest called and she was panicked because her 3-year-old locked her 1-year-old in the safe. Of course, no one knew the code. And I was like, you got to be kidding. So then, the parents are hysterical because what they're thinking is there's limited amount of air for the 1-year-old. And what they didn't know was every 10 failures, the box did not work. The decoder box. And the only way to open it was to drill it. So engineering had to get a drill. And I'm like, if this guest sees this drill going into this small box, they're just going to lose it. But luckily,
oh my God,
the box worked. We opened it. They thought we were heroes.
Wow.
That was, crazy opportunity.
I didn't have the 3-year-old locking the 1-year-old in there in the bingo card. That was
Oh my gosh.
Wow.
If anybody out there's done anything really stupid, let's say you're starting and you're like, I've done something bad and I don't think it would be rectified. Let me tell you this story. So at the Grand Floridian, as I mentioned, I'm new to the hospitality business. And I never used radios. They have all these radio lingo, like 10-4, signal 28, 2 strings, blah, blah, blah. If Terry Cowick is listening, she used to tease me because she would call me up and use these. She would just, the whole language would be, I'm like, what did she just say? So I was duty manager July 4th, 1988. It was my first time being duty manager. And I'm in resorts all of 3 months. And July 4th, everyone used to park by the Grand Floridian. So it's crowded. And Lisa Brochard, who recently retired, another Disney manager, she and I had duty. And we were out patrolling what is now the area where the Cass parking lot is across the street.
Okay. Yeah.
And we saw what looked like 2 legs sticking up and head was down. So it looked like they were stealing a radio, like someone had broken into a car and was stealing a radio. So it was dark. That's my excuse. I looked and I called in. We have a signal, blah, 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 in progress. Progress. That was it. Well, what I said was we have a rape in progress. So boy. Everyone shows up. Wow. And I'm like, man, this job has power. Like, who knew? Yeah, this fun. And then they got there, security's there, everybody's there, and they found out the guy's like just sleeping. And then the head of security goes, who called us in? Lisa and I like crept back. we just left. I was like, oh my gosh, what have we done? You do some crazy stuff, but there's always redemption.
But what guy sleeps in his car with his legs sticking out?
Exactly.
It isn't, yeah.
On 4th of July.
It's so hot in that car.
4th of July. Wow. Now you understand why I made them the call, right?
Yeah. I want to ask a leadership question.
Yes.
Nice strategy. So coming from Paris to the animal kingdom, I think that being at Disney makes a lot of sense, that transition. I think somebody else may say, you know what? I've never really been in the parks before, right? I mean, you talked about being on Main Street, but it wasn't like 40 years of your career, operating attractions. Just kind of curious, when you took over that new role, how was that? I'm assuming you were, if you had to do it again, were there things that you wish you would have done differently? What was it like making that transition from the hotels to the parks?
Well, Disney is great about that. I mean, they look for people who have strong leadership skills, and they'll give you an opportunity. So when I ran the cruise, when I was hotel director on the cruise ship, I'd never been on a cruise ship ever. I got an opportunity to do strategy work I was an operator before then, but I got a chance to work in strategy. The Disney call center, never had any call center. Went over there as director of operations for call center. So the good thing about working at a company like Disney is that if you've proven yourself in other arenas, then you'll have an opportunity to do other things. Especially, but you see a lot of people who stay in the same field of work forever. They like it, they do it, and it's a bit nerve-wracking. But you know, from a little bit of my personality, I'm going out there. I'm going to try it. I don't. Not, a lot of things. I'm nervous, like anything, but it doesn't. My nerves have never inhibited me from doing something. So, but when I went there, you know, you be careful what you want, because I wanted, then I got it. And then so for me, with any business, you have to find the key metrics, like what makes this business ticks. You know what makes a hotel tick. It's like what are the key metrics that make this business ticks. And so once you learn that, then you can focus on the technical part. And then you got smart people. I mean, like really smart people. I had a great director of operations, general manager of operations, a great food and beverage person. And all these guys were just top class. So I just spent time with them. I love being in areas. In food and beverage, I woke up at 3 o'clock in the morning to go cook beans with the guy and the Safari Hotel. I mean, like, I stayed late to work with the custodial team who were doing the midnight shift in costume. So I really, really wanted to understand not only what they do, but why they did it and like how are they feeling. And at one point, somebody's going to come to me, and I want to be able to go, oh yeah, these guys, you know, they work hard and they feel like they're not appreciated. So we need to make sure they're appreciated. These people, they make a ton of money, and you know, they just maybe ignore these other people. So you get to when you're hands-on and you can ask enough questions, and you have to be. I had the privilege of working in areas where I knew nothing a lot. So I knew that if you go in being the vice president, knowing everything, it's going to be a rough stop for you. Mm-hmm. And, you know, Disney, and when you transition people, the team below you is solid most of the time. And so you can rely on them until they get you up to speed. And then they now feel comfortable that you understand what they do, not just from a number standpoint, because they know you're going to know the business part. They also want to make sure that you sort of understand the human part of that business. So for me, it was just asking a ton of questions. And, you know, I go down weekends, and a lot of people do that. I mean, we every weekend I was there. Every time I had a chance to go out there and understand a little bit more of the business, it helped. And then, because I knew we were redefining the business as well. So not only did we have to do what we were doing, but we had to do it in a different context, because we were about to relaunch, you know, Animal Kingdom.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So speaking of that relaunch, it was under your tenure at Animal Kingdom that Pandora opened. And I mean, I don't know if that's the biggest change in Animal Kingdom history. I don't know, but it feels like it definitely might be.
Yeah.
You know, and what was that like? Like, what was it? I mean, that's a huge question.
Yeah,
of course.
Well,
but the from the planning, yeah, I'm curious about that. But then also, like, you see people walking into it for the first time after you've been planning. You see the cast members walk into it for the first time, and then eventually you see the guests walking. What is that moment like?
Yeah, it's multi-tiered, multi-emotional.
Yeah.
And there's a whole story I'll talk a little bit about that. But when that first guest got off the ride after we opened it up, and they were all in tears. I was like, wow, because it's, you know, nothing against all the other attractions.
Yeah.
This particular attraction it's transformative. Like, there are people who like become emotional, you know, like, oh my God. And they become emotional with something they didn't know. Like, there are Star Wars fans who become emotional when they ride it, because they're like, oh my God, it's Star Wars. Now, they lived it and they breathed it all their life. Well, when Pandora opened, the movie was 10 years old or something crazy like that. Yeah. And the ride was unique enough and the ride system is still very unique, that it just really it of people.
Yeah.
I mean, it really does. But working on that project was great because we had to work with James Cameron and John Landau, the late John Landau. And they were so vested in it. I mean, they were just amazing. We knew that we were doing something uniquely special because we wanted to be the first fully immersive experience. And the cast members, it's probably one of the more rewarding things we were able to accomplish. The cast members were 100% involved. They learned how to speak Navi.
Yeah.
Each cast member had a chance to come up with their own story, because a lot of places we call them performance theming. Like when I was at Downtown Disney, we had the Candy Cauldron, and people walk in, they go, "Oh, bubbles and bubbles." Or when I was at the hotel in Paris, I go, "Howdy." It's like you use one word, but then you go back to kind of yourself. Well, we created a class called the Passage to Pandora, I think, and everyone had to go through it.
Yeah.
And they were similar to the same concept that I thought of when we were in Hawaii. I wanted to make sure that, because everyone does these cost cuttings, and we've been there long enough to know that you cost cut. So I wanted to create training programs that were so interwoven in the fabric that even if we dismantle something, you still have the core to what it meant to work and be a part of Pandora. And it was easy too, because it wasn't like I was telling you to be a different character. I wanted you to be you, but you got to create a backstory on why are you here? Like, how'd you get here? Oh, I'm a second generation. My dad actually came here on an experiment. I went to school here in those mountains. I used to climb up there and I do my pictures. Oh, you want to see my pictures? They whip out these pads. Like, each person just went deeper and deeper into the story element. And so that part was just phenomenal to see people not break character during those opening days. That was terrific. A story that some people may or may not know, that when the ride was built, it has 4 ride chambers.
Yeah.
And it was positioned as being the most reliable attraction ever built, because even if one tower goes down, it can still function.
3 more.
Yeah, 3 more. Right?
Yeah.
So when we started for test days, we sent out all the invitations, and then we started running the attraction. And the attraction had challenges. Like, it would only run 20 minutes, and then we had to let it cool down for 2 hours. Then it ran for 20 more minutes and 2 hours. So obviously that ride capacity is not going to work. So the team, once again, was amazing. I had to cancel test days, push it back, and they worked endlessly to figure out how to solve it. They were able to come up with a quick solution. So the opening date wasn't changed, and we got it open, but it was you were sweating tears in those first couple of days and weeks, but it opened. People loved it. Never in my wildest dreams that I would ever have thought that there would be 6-hour waits.
Yeah.
And people wanted to just wait. They're just like, no, we're good. Blah, blah, blah. But truly an amazing attraction that changed the park in itself.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Wow.
So I've got to ask, what's next? Enjoying retired life?
Yeah, I'm loving it. So I moved to Paris 4 years ago, and since doing that, I continue to travel a lot. I think I've now reached the plus 80 countries that I've visited to around the world, and so that's a real passion of mine. I'm into Via Ferratas, which are these tall vertical clip-off climbs that I do, and still train a lot. And so I still look around every corner to see what more is out there. Probably will start with Jody, and we're thinking about doing a podcast called Expedition Leadership.
Very cool.
Nice.
Starting the framework of a book. So those are all kind of floating around now.
All right.
There's so many great stories. I mean,
Yeah.
it's got to be incredible. Yeah.
I'm getting this
Gotta be
book
incredible.
pre-order
Yeah.
right now, and I'm also pre-subscribing to the podcast.
That's right.
Yeah. Are you living the childhood dream of going from park to park, riding all the big roller coasters?
I've not done that, but I will say this morning, or actually prior to coming here, I stopped by the Magic Kingdom and talked to Sarah Rouse. And she's like, "Let's go ride Tron."
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I did Tron this morning. So little by little.
That's good. That's good stuff.
Yeah.
Cool.
So always trying to chase a dream. Yeah. So the 7 summits. When I was the general manager of All Star Resorts, the food and beverage manager had planned to go to Kilimanjaro with a group of 10 people 2 years prior. And as time got closer and closer to the launch date, they all backed out. So he was by himself. And he was having a conversation with my assistant at the time. And she's like, "Well, you should ask Djuan. He does, I used to do all these courier flights, a whole other story, but I love adventure." So she's like, "You should."
You do?
Huh?
You don't think that's there's nothing in your description or your Wikipedia page
So anything
that says anything about like an adventure. Nothing at all.
He's like, he called me up. She said, "You should talk to Djuan and see if you want to go." She's like, "Do you want to go to Kenya and Tanzania to climb Kilimanjaro with me?" And I was like, I'm like, "Why would I do that?" Like, he's like, "Oh, it's gonna be fun." He explained to me what happened, and then I realized I have not. The only place I've been in Africa at the time, I went to Egypt once and Morocco. The only 2 places I've been on the continent at that time. I was like, "Yeah, let's do it." Now this is 2 months before due date, and we started training, but not knowing how difficult it would be. But nonetheless, we did it. It nearly killed us, but it was great. And so, you may know a little bit about my personality by now, but like 3 weeks later, I was like, "We did this. Let's do all 7 summits. Come on, guys, let's do this." So we started doing the 7 summits, and we went from Kilimanjaro to Aconcagua to Elbrus in Russia, and Aconcagua was in South America. I did the one in Australia. So we just kept building up the thing, and with Everest, it was the trip with Everest. A little twist. I got invited. I paid heavily to be on the team. We were the first people in the world to do a halo skydive over Mount Everest. So we hiked up to the base camp. Went back down to this place called Simbache, got on the plane, and we got up to 32,000 feet. And then we jumped out, and so it's high altitude, low opening. So you jump out and you do what they say in the movies, and then you open your chute at the last minute and you hopefully safely land.
Hopefully.
Well, one person did not, which is,
Oh no.
yeah. So she survived, but I mean, it was
Wow.
when you're doing these things, everyone's trying to be number 1, like, because you never heard of me, right? Because I was number 6. But the lady who was number 1, Good Morning America was there, and some other news stations, and they interview her, and the rest of us are like shooing us off. So I was originally supposed to be number 4, but at the last minute, they switched me with someone else. And so I ended up being number 6. The person that took my spot, when they jumped, there was this storms always in the Himalayas. There was a storm sitting there, and we saw it. The radar saw it moving, and so they tried to abort the flight, but it was too late, and they'd already deployed from the plane, and the storm just came barreling through the valley, and two of the jumpers made it down, but she there's Everest, so she's looking around, and she realized, oh crap, and then now she can't see the landing zone because it's covered in clouds.
Wow.
And so she just said that you're looking at your altimeter, so our landing spot was 12,000 feet. So she sees that she's getting closer, but she doesn't know where it is. So she deployed her chute, did what they call a flare, and she saw this granite cliff, so she flared away from it. And then that's the last thing she remembered. And we saw her fall through the cloud, and she hit something. And so she was like hanging on the side of a cliff. So we had to go find her, retrieve her, bring her back. She had like multiple compound fractures. She broke her neck, and she was pretty busted up. But so we had medics there, and they reset her, and they sent her back to Kathmandu on the plane, and she was in the hospital for like 4 months there. The next morning, the plane comes back, and I'm the first guy to jump. So I'm like,
Oh my goodness.
because a lot of times when you do these things, it's not that you don't think they're dangerous, but usually you don't see something in your face like a reminder that this is the real deal. So I had a chance to do it next, and it was unbelievable. So that was
Parachute's half the size, or you're going twice as fast.
so exactly. So that was fun.
So are the 7 complete?
No,
Okay.
I Denali,
Okay.
and the one in Antarctica.
Yes.
Are the 2 that I have not even attempted. I went to Antarctica.
Oh, nice.
I ran a marathon in Antarctica.
Really?
That's the thing.
How does that even work?
Well, it was actually a back-to-back marathon. So you the first race is in Punta Arenas,
Okay.
and then you jump on a plane, you fly to Antarctica,
Yeah.
and then you run the next day. We had problems because it was bad weather, so it took us 4 days between runs. But you land on St. George Island.
Is there good weather in Antarctica?
Well, the good and bad part. The bad part is that. Well, the good part is the weather was okay. The bad part is that the weather should have been a whole lot colder. I mean, with global warming and the water temperature had risen, they said. But nonetheless, we experienced like snow and sleet and rain and snow throughout the whole thing. And when you're doing a marathon in Antarctica, you run laps because they can't let you run. Sure. Yeah, because they only have 2 monitors at both ends of this thing. So we did a little less than 6 miles, and you keep running around until you hit your goal. And you're running, and you see, it's epic. You're running, and like I don't know, it was a flock. I don't know, like a herd. I don't know, but a bunch of penguins. What do you call a group of penguins?
I don't know. That's like the beginning of that joke.
So like penguins run in front of you, and walruses, and then the sun crests over a glacier. It's like, it was crazy. Wow. But that was the Antarctica experience. I really wanted to do that because I was like, if I do the climb, like, what is Antarctica like? I mean, you hear these stories and you see videos. So that was my test, and it was Trevor Larson, who recently retired when I did. He was head of engineering at Disney. When he found out I was going to do the Antarctic run, he's like, "Okay, we got to get you trained up." So I put a treadmill in a freezer truck at DC6 or whatever that place is, with big fans to simulate what is it like to run in minus 20-degree weather. So, but it was helpful because I was able to pick out the right clothing. I knew, now I can, because I was not gonna do it right. Yeah. So that allowed me to go, okay, I need fewer lower body, which are intuitive, but I still thought something different. Yeah. But it was good. It was a great experience.
All I can imagine is just like your 4th of July story. Somebody walking by, there's a man in the back of a truck. I don't know what's going on.
I mean, no, they were good. They had like 2 people with heart monitors measuring me, make sure my O2 levels were. We need you to come back alive.
Sounds like the Flash.
Yeah. Well, when we were practicing and training for Kilimanjaro, we used the stairs at the Kingsbury Hotel. So if you look at the emergency stairwell that goes all the way up to the lookout extension, these people would say, like, "Did you know there are 4 guys with backpacks going up and down these stairs?" So I don't know how many stories it is, but when you train for it, the first time you go up and down the stairs, you can do like 4 times, and that's it. Yeah. And then so we started with 4 times, and you add a little more weight to your bag. So by the time it's over with, you can do them 20 times with 40 pounds of weight on your back. So, because it's flat. So how else are you going to train for a climb other than kind of simulate it? But and that was still difficult even after doing that. But it was, wow.
Well, so you're in Orlando for a specific event, or what brings you to Orlando?
And yeah, I come back to Orlando periodically to visit my family. Last week was my dad's birthday, so I did that. My mom's birthday is in November, and she wanted to do a special drive trip. And so I was able to do that with her. Met some friends in Idaho and Utah. And so while I'm here, we're going to do a presentation for the college program students, along with Bob Weiss.
Very nice.
Cool. So, like 2 weeks ago, at maybe it was even less, at the ABBA headquarters here, they had a Kickstart Your Career event with a lot of college students, and they asked these students, looking forward at your career, if you could describe what you want your career to be with one word, what would you put? And there were a lot of cool answers. A lot of people said like, inspire, fun was a very common answer, as you might imagine. And looking back on your time at Disney, if I gave you the same task to describe what you think the impact of your career was in one word, what would you say?
I think looking back, I would want to say, hopefully I inspired a lot of people to push themselves out of their comfort zone.
Yeah, cool.
Like I want people to, it's so easy to just make yourself feel comfortable. And, like a lot of companies, pushing yourself out of the comfort zone, it doesn't give you an excuse not to do well. Like if you fail when you push yourself out of it,
You still fail.
You still fail. But the reward you get when you, pick yourself up and come out of that failure is a great feeling. It gives you a lot of courage. I mean, once you do it a few times, then you get the courage and as well as the technical know-how to do it over again. And you kind of know that failure is going to happen, but failure isn't the end. It's not crippling. Just don't make like drastic mistakes. Keep your ethics really high, people. You got to keep those things. The really the essentials they have to be there. But I think you got to push yourself, and you have to let people know that you're interested in doing the unknown, because they don't think of you. If you don't, everyone thinks that. My father used to tell me, son, nose to the grindstone, you work hard and they will notice. That's not the case. I mean, it's not always, because back when he was here, we had 20,000 employees. Now there's 90,000 employees, and there's like bazillion leaders, and no one knows each other, and people keep coming and going, and so you think you tell one person and that's it, and you think I've done my part. That's not necessarily it.
Yeah.
You got to be pretty consistent about informing people.
Yeah, cool.
I love that advice. And I'll tell you the reason why I love it. You often hear from college kids, elementary, middle, high school, college, their whole life, they've been given a syllabus of what it takes to be successful.
Yeah.
Mhm.
And then you get their career and suddenly it's on you. And to your point, to be able to learn, hey, like, I might know exactly what I want, but I have some North Star of direction, and they have the courage to tell people like you've done. I mean, that's big.
Just, don't be afraid to pivot. Don't pivot too much. There are people who change jobs every week. You're like, okay. And then there are other people who are just afraid, I'm good at this. I am a very good food and beverage manager. And if I move to merchandise, or if I move to food and or to operations, I'm going to start all over again. And so they are afraid that they're going to fall behind on the competitive scale. But you can't do that. You just have to work harder. You got to work harder. You got to spend a little extra time, and you'll get the balance later on in your life.
Yeah.
A lot of people pull back when there's any kind of resistance or pushback. Growth only happens when you do hard things.
Yeah.
I mean, there's the quote I looked up as we were talking here that the President Kennedy gave back in 1962 to Rice University, called "We Chose to Go to the Moon."
Yes.
And it's the line where he goes, "We chose to the moon. We choose to go to the moon in this decade and do the other things, not because they are easy, but because they are hard."
Mm-hmm.
And look at everything that fell downwind from there.
Exactly.
You could say that, some people say Ronald Reagan defeated communism. Well, actually, it probably had its start here.
Sure.
And everything just kind of cascaded down there and ended.
Once you are able to reach the moon, you're like, well,
Yeah.
I can do a lot.
Yeah.
If I can reach the moon, I can, I can invent a whole bunch of, or other people will go, well, they did that, we can do this.
And much like you, because back earlier in the interview, you said that the people didn't want to mess with or deal with the upset guest. Send me, I'll go in. It's because it's hard. And a lot of your career at Disney, probably you got noticed by these things, by self-initiative, by self-proponent, being a proponent for yourself, but also because you're going to tackle things that people shy away from.
Yeah.
And a lot of people shy away from dealing with an upset guest. Who really wants to do that?
Who really wants to deal with an upset guest? But the more you do it, the easier you learn.
For sure.
It's like
For
any
sure.
skill.
Yeah.
The more you run, the easier it is to run. The more you bake, the better baker you become.
Yeah.
The more you deal with challenging financial things, you know what to look for. I don't think there are too many things where the more you do it, the better off you are. Is a false statement.
Yeah. For sure. Well, cool. Guys, anything else? Anything anyone wants to bring up?
It's been incredible.
Yeah, seriously. Seriously, I'm going to watch this every day. But thank you so much to everyone. David for flying down. That's pretty epic. America's Theme Park Technologist, Matt Miller. Thank you for letting us use this room here at Innovative Studios.
Love having you in Innovative Studios. Thank y'all for being here.
Oh my gosh, it's so cool. And then, of course, thank you for taking time for the attractions.
My
group.
pleasure. My pleasure. Whenever you want me to come from Paris, just give me a holler.
No, how about better yet, we'll come to you.
Yeah. Now we're set.
We'll do the next one in Paris. Why not?
In French.
And in French.
Yeah, so
I'll hold the camera.
I'll
Well, Matt, give a little shout out to our host here today, because we're normally broadcasting from Cincinnati in Orlando,
Yes.
but this is a special place and very themed environment.
That's true. Sitting in a themed room, we're at Innovative Studios here in Orlando, and we specialize in theme park projects from R&D to consulting, you name it. We build cool things, and one of those cool things we do is help build podcasts. So
Yay!
cross the gamut.
That's right.
Cool. All right, guys. Well, thanks for checking us out on the Attractions Group podcast. We'll see you back here soon. Make sure, like, comment, subscribe, share, do all of those things too.